just 24 years of age. Power play done and dusted, the first power play. They needed a break here, Ireland, and they got that in this fashion.
Yeah, obviously it was Tammy McBall's call, but you could see that Das just took a couple of steps and then stared at his captain, and then the captain almost reluctantly went with it. But it was a very, very poorly judged run, because it was straight to the man, Mark Adair at fine leg, who was in the circle. He probably had 2, maybe 2.5 stumps to aim at, and he was deadly accurate. Ireland haven't found a wicket with the ball, but they have found one in the field. And after a big discussion, Andy McBride was given the ball initially, even had taken his cap off, was ready to bowl. The off spinner, the last minute they've decided to go with the medium pace of Curtis Camphor instead into the attack.
Yeah, sticking to seamers, starts with a wide, but there was never a run there, because it had gone straight to the fielder and is feeling a short fine. Straight to the fielder, and it was Tamim Iqbal, and the non-striker, thought that maybe there was a run in. Possible. Not there. Direct hit. He heads back to the pavilion. So again wide. Good piece of timing from Liton Kumar Das. He's got a bit of a start here, Liton Kumar Das.
I will say Ireland's fielding has been excellent, whatever about the batting and bowling so far in the game, and 10 overs we've had thus far. The fielding has been superb, the ground fielding in particular, and Mark Adair, a very good throwing arm, picks up cleanly in the deep there, keeps that to just 1, and he's just affected the run out. Plenty of excellent fielders as well. Harry Tector, George Dockrell is excellent, Andy McBride very capable, Adair himself, Paul Sterling a fine catcher in the slips. Curtis Camphor, the bowler, right up there with one of the best fielders. So the fielding has held up under duress as well, Attar.
Off the mark with the first delivery that he faces. So they've been very good, very decent in the field. Looking at the power play package, that was sliding down the leg side. Suggested that it might have a bit of an inside edge. Again, there was movement. They took the bowlers on a couple of times from the right hander, Liton Kumar Das, and that's the runner. And never a run there. It's definitely a bit of a misunderstanding. Back live. Just wondering what kind of total would the skipper and the Ireland team would be hoping that they can restrict Bangladesh and then go and chase. What's the total in your mind, Andrew?
The incredible thing was the other day, even though Bangladesh posted their historic record-breaking total in the first one-day international, the Irish captain and coach said they were pretty happy overall with the bowling and fielding effort. They said that with their bowling stock so significantly reduced, I'll say it one last time, no Craig Young, no Barry McCarthy, no Josh Little, 3 first-choice picks, 3 seamers. They were reasonably happy. They said 320 was the target to restrict them to in the first game. Today is different, and the reason it's different, the pitch is a slightly greener tinge, and the scale of rain we had yesterday was very significant. So anything under 260, I think, would be a good effort. And certainly they're going to need to take wickets to restrict Bangladesh to less than 300. The average scores here very high, Attar, usually a good batting wicket. And Ireland's strength, again, it lays in their batting. They didn't show it in the first ODI, but they will try to show it today.
So you say it's going to be, if they restrict Bangladesh to 260 or less, then they're in with a chance. Right, we'll have to wait and see. And only 4 runs in this over. Yeah, because the batting conditions will get better and better from here on. After 11, Bangladesh 47 for 1.
There is Fionn Hand. I think many back in Ireland would have felt he might have been the change today. The 24-year-old yet to play an ODI, but was impressive at the T20 World Cup. Instead, they've gone with this young man, 20 years old, Matthew Humphreys. What a moment for him. Really, really special. He's from Belfast. He's studying law at Trinity College in Dublin. He's a very bright young man. And even though he started his club career at Instonians, where he was a prodigy as a left-arm wrist spinner, he then had a back injury and he's changed to left-arm orthodox. He's now playing his cricket at Lisburn in the Northern Cricket Union, based in and around Belfast, and they were the league champions last year. Special moment for everyone involved with this young man. Best of luck to him.
Yeah, he'll be tested for sure, because batters from these part of the world play spin better. And looking at what Bangladesh has done in the recent past, they've been very good against the world champions England, against India. So this is going to be a very good test. It'll be interesting to see how Mr. Consistent Nazmur Hossain Shanta goes on, because he's been very good with the bat. The left-hander was in sublime touch. Was the leading run getter in the Bangladesh Premier League, which is a T20 format, but never looked back from there on. There you go. Started very good in Australia in the T20 World Cup. He managed to score 159, followed by 516 in the Bangladesh Premier League. What about those 3 ODIs against England and 3 T20s? Have a look at that. Look at that average against England in the T20 International. So he's been Mr. Consistent in white ball cricket since T20 World Cup 2022. So, and also it'll be a test for Humphrey to bowl the right and left hand combination in the middle, both very good.
Has had his struggles against left-handers as well. Been pretty flat through the air so far. He'll just be looking to get through this first over in international cricket. Good to see Lorcan Tucker, the keeper, helping him out. His field exactly in the angles where he wants it to be. Good to see some colour in the cheeks too. Very, very nervous prior to the start of play, understandably. And just one more tidbit about him. You'll like this, Attar. It nearly carries to mid-wicket. Just a little early on the shot. Has played some rugby in Ireland, the Grand Slam champions in the Six Nations. Used to play the position of hooker, would you believe, in rugby. Good sportsman all round.
He nearly picked up a wicket. It's really good to know that the kind of background that he has come from, and to get his first opportunity to play a one-day international to represent his country. What a big moment.
Nice humps.
You'll just have to get used to these conditions first and foremost. Graham Hume, bit of a misfield. It's a pretty decent over. Yes, the 50 has come across. It's 51 for 1 for Bangladesh. Short. Too short. So dealing in singles. Single to finish the over. 5 in that over. Bangladesh 52 for 1.
খেলা তো পাল্টাবেই সারা দেশে সেরা ইন্টারনেট এক্সপিরিয়েন্স নিয়ে রবি আগামীর জন্য রেডি।
Bangladesh is starting well. They've lost the skipper, Tamim Iqbal. 23, he was shaping up well when he got himself run out. 52 for 1 after 12.
You just saw George Dockrell there on the screen. The reason I want to talk about him is twofold. One, a lot of Irish fans will have felt that he should have bowled in the first game. But secondly, maybe we're seeing with Matthew Humphreys shades of what George Dockrell did as a youngster He was selected from almost nowhere as a 17-year-old at the T20 World Cup in the Caribbean back in 2010. Thrown into action by Phil Simmons. And hasn't he responded brilliantly over the last decade plus? His game has completely changed now. He's now a batter. He top scored in the first ODI. But he still, for me, has plenty of overs to bowl for Ireland. Maybe if the two right-handers get to the crease, if they can see the back of the left-handers in the middle order, there might be a chance for Dockrell to turn his arm over today as well.
Oh, just short. Did it carry? Was short and wide. He went for it, Nazmul Hasan Shanto. Tech to the fielder.
If there's anyone that Ireland would have wanted at this opportunity, it would have been Harry Tector, but maybe just not quite carrying. He's an excellent fielder, that's why he's a backward point. He feels maybe he could have got the mitts underneath that. Burst through, single instead.
Genuine edge. Yeah, I can understand where you're coming from in terms of having someone like Dockrell to come into the attack, but it looks like the skipper, Balbirnie, feels that it's Humphrey. That's one of the reasons why they've picked him up in the 11 to ensure that they give him a go early on. Humphreys, beg your pardon. Again, a short one. I can understand the thinking behind the short one, but you got to really get it up and you got to bowl it a little bit more quicker to trouble the batter.
I think the other reason they've gone with Matthew Humphreys, this tour for Ireland, very much one of discovery, one of blooding some players, one of giving opportunities. So maybe the more sensible thing or the more rational thing would have been to go with Fionn Han, the extra seamer, and have Dockrell bowl some left arm spin. But instead they wanted to give the debut to the young man, as they'll pick up a couple here. I think that's a good move. Give him a chance, see how he goes on the international stage. End of the 13th, 57 for 1.
Four bowlers used so far. 57 for 1, Bangladesh after 13. They're going at a rate of just about 4 runs in an over, which is absolutely fine because it has been difficult to bat. We've only managed to pick up 5 fours and a 6. Right, it looks like that he's only got 1 over to bowl. Matthew Humphreys. It's going to be Andrew McBride in the attack. Maybe change of ends. We'll have to wait and see. You never know. You know him better than anyone else. Balbirnie, tell us a little bit about him.
You know Andy Balbirnie since he was maybe 5 or 6 years of age. He grew up about 10 doors up from our cricket club in Dublin, Pembroke Cricket Club. That's been a real factory line of talent for Irish cricket over the last few years. We're going to go to the start. Brian, the off spinner, maybe because the left-hander's on strike. Really look at matchups a lot, the Irish team. Andrew Balbirnie alongside his 2 brothers and his parents, key members of that club in Dublin. And he was dubbed an FIC from a very young age, future Irish captain. And it was borne out to be true. Captain Ireland at under 15s, under 17s, under 19s, all the way through. And he was a very fine batter to watch.
Yeah, it was Graham Hume who picked up a 4 for 60, but I thought, in my opinion, Andrew McBride was the pick of the bowler. I think the reason for him to be in the attack is because he also picked up the wicket of Nazmul Hasan Shanto with a lovely delivery, which came back with the arm, playing for the turn, and it went through the defences between the bat and the pad. Again, just trying to chop that away again and not picking up the line.
Exactly.
And you have to remember, no Simi Singh on this tour, which again some Irish fans will be surprised with. Very consistent in recent times, quite economical, but not selected for either this tour of Bangladesh nor the one of Sri Lanka, the off-spinning batter. So it means that McBride has to lead the way with the finger spin. I think Ireland want to explore their other options with their spinners, the likes of Humphreys, the left-arm spinner, Gareth Delaney, and then we'll see Ben White, the leg spinner as well. Particularly in the T20s, I'd expect him to play. But he is a canny bowler. He's very clever. He's very deceptive, Andrew McBride, but the slip comes out. Close catching position for Paul Stirling, just around Silly Madoff.
He bowled a beauty to Nazmul Shanto, McBride. That's the first one, the international one. Picked up the wicket of Nazmul Shanto. Ball coming back with the arm. Still on a shorter side from the spinner. Single to finish the over. 3 in that over. Pretty decent over from McBride. Bangladesh 60 for 1.
Plenty of batting to come. Shakib Al Hassan, Fawad Ridoy, Mushfiqur Rahim. That is a really good looking middle order for Bangladesh. They're hanging here well, Bangladesh, I feel, in that they were tested early on by the two Irish seamers, Adair and Hume. The ball nipped around, and Liton Kumar Das and Tamim Iqbal, they held their nerve. They hung in, they were tight in defence, they were happy to have a little look around, and now the runs are starting to come from the bat. That'll be a wide.
They had to ride it out, the hard part, overcast conditions. The Irish seamers were right on the money, almost.
Not sure which one will feel unfortunate, because that's wide. Shanto would have been expecting to hit that back pass backward point for 4, and Kampfer probably feels as though he was unfortunate not to get a little outside edge. Lovely facility here in Sylhet. There's another ground that backs onto this one. A wise call of weight.
Good calling, good calling. Well, speaking of being unfortunate, I think the run out was unfortunate from Bangladesh's perspective. We got off to a good start, a decent start, 42. Perhaps could have said no. Shanto, man in form, been consistent as mentioned before by fellow commentators. Certainly, he wouldn't want to throw it away. Liton Das also 25 of 36, so decent partnership going on at the moment.
You said unfortunate, but it seems to be a common mode of dismissal for Tamim Iqbal. Run out 19 times. That's a whole heap of run-outs.
Well, Liton, on the other hand, has been top of it. This is well fielded at point. They'll get a single. So, yeah, Litton Das playing his 65th ODI has only been part of run out 3 times, including the one today. Harry Tector, brilliant fielding from him at point, definitely saving a few runs. Just the last few ODIs, series against India, England, now this one. Comparison to that, the start hasn't been bad, but he'll be looking for a second. Running the first one hard should be easy. We'll get back to that. Will be the end of the over 4 of this one. Bangladesh 64 for 1.
খেলা তো পাল্টাবেই সারা দেশে সেরা ইন্টারনেট এক্সপিরিয়েন্স নিয়ে রবি আগামীর জন্য রেডি।
There were a few maidens bowled early on. Mark Adair and Hugh managed to get some swing and some seam early on. But now the ship is steadied and Bangladesh is starting to accumulate nicely. Run rate a little bit over 4 to the over. You know that it's a venue where teams batting first normally get over 300, but field it again.
Very good, Tips.
So just going back to what I was saying, the series versus India, then the series versus England, I think some of the innings the top order has fired, but it's the opening pair. Roll of the wrist. Yeah, just going back to that last 6 innings, the opening pair hasn't scored 50 together. Almost on course today. I think just getting back there, because the middle order is firing. Nazmul Hussain Shanto has been in prolific form. Litton Das looks very good today. There's McBrien to Shanto. Coming around the wicket and playing the batsman, trying to make him think, getting him to think if it's going to turn or going to come in. That's there, but just going back to what I was saying, Shakib has been in good form. Tawhid Hridoy, the debutant, played magnificently. So the middle order is firing. The pace bowlers have been superb. Just going to be a matter of one innings for someone like Tamim Iqbal, a half century maybe, and they'll be off.
Well, he got himself in today. He worked really hard to get himself in. You could see he was a bit scratchy up front, but unsure of where his off stump was. But he got himself in. He went down the wicket, hit a lovely stroke back over the bowler's head for 4. Then we saw a delightful extra cover drive. But if he wants to run himself out, finding form is going to be tough. And running yourself out 19 times, that's not great. That'll fall just short. Shanto having a few problems here with McBrien. 16 gone, 68 for 1, and the players are going to have a drink.
Attention to all. ICC anti-discrimination policy. Policy statement on inappropriate conduct. It shall be a breach of the terms and conditions of entry to the venue for any ticket holder to engage in any conduct, whether through the use of language, gestures, or otherwise, which is likely to offend, insult, humiliate, intimidate, threaten, disparage, or vilify any other person, including players, match officials, or spectators, on the basis of their race, religion, culture, color, descent, nationality, ethnic origin, sex, gender, sexual orientation, disability, marital status, or maternity status. Such action will not be tolerated and is likely to result in ejection from the venue, the imposition of other sanctions, such as being banned from the venue in the future, and possible further action, including criminal prosecution.
স্টেডিয়ামে উপস্থিত সবার মনোযোগ আকর্ষণ করছি। আইসিসির বৈষম্য বিরোধী নীতি, অনুপযুক্ত আচরণ সম্পর্কিত নীতিনির্দেশে আইনি ধারা ও প্রয়োগ।
So just the one wicket has gone down, that of the Bangladesh captain for 23. He ran himself out. Lovely bit of fielding by Mark Adair. But it was Ireland who won the toss and asked Bangladesh to bat in conditions that certainly favoured the seam bowlers. There was a little bit of swing for Mark Adair and a little bit of seam for Hume. He continued his good form with the ball as he had in the first one-day international. But slowly, ever so slowly, the two Bangladesh openers started to find their feet until this moment when Tamim Iqbal was well short of his ground and Bangladesh had lost their first wicket.
There you go. Run out 19 times, as we mentioned HD earlier. About 143 times, but yes, it's that row in the red that would be slightly concerning him. But a player of his caliber with so much experience and so much runs under his belt, as mentioned before, it's just a matter of one good knock and he'll be up and running again.
I think the other concern is, I mean, look, 19 is a substantial number to get run out. It really is. It's something that all players don't want to have on their resume, run-outs. And he's been involved in 32. So he's actually, partner's been run out 13 times. So that is a problem. That is something that needs to be looked at. And as good a player as Tamim Iqbal is, and the amount of runs that he's got and will get for Bangladesh, the running between the wickets, that needs to be sorted. That's a real controllable, that. We've had some rain here in Sylhet yesterday, some thunderstorms, and then this morning some rain as well, early this morning, for those of you that were awake at 6 a.m. But slowly but surely that rain seems to have disappeared. There is a forecast for some a little bit later in the evening, but let's quietly hope that it misses this venue. It may go all around, because rain is always something that's welcome in any part of the world, really, with the water shortages that are going on globally. But we don't need any over this venue now. There's been enough. The outfield's a little bit sluggish, and the surface is probably a little bit on the spicy side if you're a local fan. Lytton Das has got to start again. That's sweetly timed. It will only bring one run, but he is starting to find the middle of that willow.
Yeah, 30 or 41 now. You mentioned timed it sweetly, ran to the man in the deep. Have you got some superpowers engaged just to keep the clouds away from on top of this Sylhet International Cricket Stadium, HD?
What I did notice after the rain is it was blue skies for the first time that I've seen here. Seems the rain seems to get rid of the smog.
Just feel that, yes, more humid here. The Ireland bowlers, they've been good, but they've missed out on the opportunity. They've been really good past the outside edge on a few occasions. Just missed out.
Once you get to the 17th over, as we're in, and granted they used 2 balls, there's 1 from each end, that these white balls stop swinging. The seam gets a little bit softer, and suddenly there's not that sideways movement that we saw Mark Adair get. This is when the hard work really starts for the bowlers. But Ireland do have some handy spin. I think Andy McBride is a very, very handy off spinner. He's proved problematic for Shanto. Shanto has struggled. It's done here for lack of pace, I think. He's through the shot on the elbow.
Yeah. Andy Mulverney has played in this field, played for Premier Bank Khulna Tigers this edition of BPL. Tamim Iqbal, Bangladesh captain, was also his teammate.
That was Yasser Ali. No teammates here. Yeah, how he manages his bowlers today will be interesting to see. Whether George Dockrell will get a bowl. There's some very handy left armers. I know he hasn't been favoured of late, but he is much better than a part-timer, because he actually started his career as a left-arm spinner, George Dockrell. Little bit of aggression from Comfort. Ends the 17th, 71 for 1.
খেলা তো পাল্টাবেই। সারা দেশে সেরা ইন্টারনেট এক্সপিরিয়েন্স নিয়ে রবি আগামীর জন্য রেডি।
After 17 overs, Bangladesh are 71 for 1. Spinners into the attack. We said that the surface is offering a little bit for the seamers. I wouldn't be surprised now if we start to see Liton Kumar Das look to be a little bit more aggressive, particularly against the off spinner. It would be his job to be more aggressive than Shanto. Shanto struggled a little bit against McBride. Liton Das just getting some running repairs to his elbow with a short ball from Comfort struck him.
This is where he got hurt. The right elbow going to pull. It's just the pace of the ball. Must sting, definitely. Some magic spray on action for Liton Das.
Crowd starting to grow here slightly in Sylhet. It tends to throughout the day. Come the dinner break, we are normally close to capacity. Right, so it is Das on strike now. The mandatory 5 men inside the 30-yard circle, just 2 of those on the leg side. Mid-wicket and a man just behind square on the leg side. I'll want 2. I'll get 2.
Was in the air, but in the gap, and as you rightly pointed out, I think Liton Das is going to be the aggressor. 33 or 45.
Nice tips.
1-4 and a 6 already in this innings. Deep mid-wicket in position for him. Sweeper The offside. Long on, also there. Bit off inside the circle.
It's got that fine. It's glided that away from virtually on top of off stump.
Very nice tips.
This is clever. This is smart batting from Liton Das. Waited for the ball, played it very late. That is very creative. Opening the blade.
Oh, they'll move the foot here. You can see Liton Das. Last couple of balls, he's been down the wicket. He's played a late cut. Now the reverse sweep comes out. And he's looking to get a move on the right-hander.
Change in field. Short fine leg. Deep backward square.
Very good.
Right, here's a contest between Shanto and McBride. McBride bowls around the wicket and he tries to get the ball to run onto off stump. If it turns from just outside off stump, well, so be it. But the real threat for Shanto is the one that goes straight on with the arm. Shanto trying to hit the ball through the offside, just past extra cover. And McBride's looking to get between that bat and pad.
I think he's got some hopes against Shanto. Shows on his face, just a bit wary. Shanto particularly against McBride again. Yes, that ball you're referring to coming back. Just hitting the outside edge and going to the onside.
Good tips.
Clever from Das, happy to take a single off the last. So that's 7 from that over. 78 for 1.
Catcher in here rather than slip.
62 dots. That's an indication of how tough it has been for the batters out there. 62 dots in 18 overs. Well, they've had to be watchful, but we've just started to see Liton Das now looking to put the foot down a little bit. Right, the young man Humphreys is going to get his second over. Bowled just one from the other end.
Single again from the first delivery of the over from Liton Das. This is one thing they've done so well, rotated the strike, making most of the left and right in combination, making it difficult for the Ireland bowlers. Partnership now 37 of 51, going at a decent rate of 4.35. It's just about time they're gonna fancy a bowler. Might as well be Humphreys, the youngster, the debutant.
He's okay.
Looking at the onside is Nazmul Hussain Shanto. Huge gap through extra covers on the offside as well.
Very nice, Hobbs. Very
I
good.
like the idea of Humphries coming around the wicket here to the left-hander. So often left-arm spinners are just happy to come over the wicket, and left-handers pick them off through the leg side, knock them up to long on and deep mid-wicket. This around the wicket offers Humphries the opportunity where if he can pitch it on and straighten it, he can get someone out LBW. It's a good run. It's well played. But I like the idea.
Yeah, spot on. Coming around the wicket to the left-handed batter, cramping him up for space with long on in the boundary. So you want him to play against the spin. Now both long on and long off in the boundary for Liton Das. Gap at deep mid-wicket or deep extra cover.
Had to be placed well and was.
Lucky Hobbs, very good.
Played it according to the bounce. Square of the wicket. Nicely played by Liton Das, brings a smile to his face. Was short, waited for it and played it very late, and see that blade. Just emphasis on the timing.
Yeah, and the placement, 2 men behind point on the offside and a sweeper well in front of point, so he just needed to beat Paul Sterling's right hand. Now he goes short and all the way.
There's the mid-wicket region I was talking about. Rocked back to the back foot and was very quick. The last ball goes for a maximum from Liton Das. Quickly onto his back foot and pulls it away. 14 of the 19th, Bangladesh 92 for 1.
খেলা তো পাল্টাবেই। সারা দেশে সেরা ইন্টারনেট এক্সপিরিয়েন্স নিয়ে রবি আগামীর জন্য রেডি।
Well, that boundary brought up the 50 partnership between Shanto and Liton Das. Oh, he really is struggling.